Have you ever wondered how a potato could change the course of a nation's history? In the mid-19th century, Ireland was a nation heavily dependent on potatoes. This humble root vegetable wasn't just a part of their diet, it was a lifeline for millions of Irish people. But in 1845, an uninvited guest arrived on Ireland's shores. Phytophthora infestans, or as it's more commonly known, potato blight. Almost overnight, the fields of Ireland turned from green to black as the blight took hold. This fungus-like organism had the power to wipe out entire crops, leaving nothing but decay in its wake. Panic spread across the land as swiftly as the blight itself. The very food that sustained life was now the harbinger of despair. The people watched in horror as their lifeline withered away, taking with it their hopes and dreams. As the blight spread, a shadow fell across the Emerald Isle, marking the beginning of the Great Famine. Imagine this, 1/3 of the population starving with no end in sight. The years from 1846 to 1849 marked the peak of Ireland's Great Famine. This was a time when the potato blight, a disease that decimated the staple crop of the Irish diet, was at its most devastating. Fields once bursting with life stood barren, their soil turned to dust. The very lifeblood of the nation had been sucked dry. As the potato crop failed, starvation spread like wildfire. It was an era of silent streets and hollow eyes, of families huddled in the corners of their crumbling homes, with nothing to eat. The British government, while aware of the crisis, offered relief measures that were largely ineffective. Soup kitchens and workhouses were established, but they fell short of meeting the overwhelming need. With each passing year, the toll of the famine grew heavier, pushing Ireland to the brink of collapse. What happens to a country when over 1 million of its people perish and another million flee in desperation? The aftermath of the Great Famine in Ireland was a period of profound change and upheaval. The mass exodus of people seeking refuge elsewhere led to a significant demographic shift, with Irish communities sprouting up in far-flung corners of the world. Simultaneously, the famine's devastating impact gave rise to a surge in Irish nationalism. The perception that Britain had failed Ireland during its time of dire need strained relations between the two nations, fueling resentment and a growing desire for Irish self-governance. This period of strife also led to significant socio-political changes within Ireland itself. The famine's legacy was one of deep-seated mistrust, and a fierce determination to safeguard the nation's future against such catastrophic events. The Great Famine left an indelible mark on Ireland, a scar on the nation's heart that still echoes in its history today. So, what can we learn from Ireland's Great Famine? This poignant chapter in history provides us with many lessons. The Great Famine was primarily caused by a potato disease, but this biological disaster was compounded by social and political factors. The British government's response was largely inadequate, with relief measures falling short of what was needed to alleviate the suffering. This tragedy led to mass emigration, with many Irish people setting sail for new lands in hopes of a better life. The demographic and cultural impact of this event on Ireland can still be seen today. The Great Famine also forever changed the relationship between Ireland and Britain. Understanding history is crucial to preventing similar tragedies. It's essential to recognize the role of government and society in mitigating or exacerbating natural disasters. The Great Famine wasn't just a natural disaster but a human one as well. In remembering the Great Famine, we honor the resilience of the Irish people and remind ourselves of the lessons learned from one of history's darkest chapters.